Depression affects millions of people every day, and for many, traditional antidepressants like Prozac or Zoloft only go so far. They can help, but often they fall short, managing symptoms without addressing the root causes, and often bringing difficult unwanted side effects. So today, we're going to find out whether antidepressants are still the best treatment for depression, or if Spravato, a ketamine-based nasal spray that's changing what we know about depression, could be even better. The science is clear, and the real patient stories are powerful. Before we dive in, a big thanks to our sponsor, Marpa Minds, a network of next-generation mental health clinics offering ketamine and Spravato treatments for depression. Go to marpaminds.com for more info. Depression isn't just feeling down. It's a heavy cloud that can make work, relationships, even getting out of bed feel impossible. SSRIs, or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, have been around since the 1980s as the standard depression treatment. And they work by boosting serotonin, a brain chemical that has some relevance to depression, although the science is unclear, as we'll see. And more recently, this serotonin theory of depression has been largely disproven. And I'm not here to throw shame on people taking antidepressants. Depression is tough, and I admire everyone out there that's trying to find solutions that work. But I've got to be honest here. More people are taking antidepressants than ever before, and just between 2016 and 2022 alone, monthly prescriptions increased by 66%. And in the years since 2022, prescribing rates for antidepressants have continued to spike upwards even more. But we're not getting better, and people are staying on antidepressants longer. And there's this sense that we're supposed to just keep taking them every day for the rest of our life, like they were a vitamin tablet. But these medications are not vitamins. They come with numerous downsides, and their benefits are quite limited, especially as they typically fail to address the root causes of depression or to heal your underlying trauma or insecurities or dis-ease. Before we get deep into the scientific comparisons, I'm going to summarize the main downsides of taking antidepressants. They're slow to work and often take 4 to 6 weeks before any improvements are noticeable. And that is a long wait when you're struggling. Improvements are not universal, and most people don't get relief from their first SSRI. Patients typically having to try several types of antidepressant with a long wait for each one to see if it works. And plus, for around 25% of people with depression, it seems that no antidepressant works at all. SSRIs have a lot of side effects, weight gain, low libido, and feeling emotionally flat being particularly common. Plus, a big one, stopping SSRIs can cause serious withdrawal symptoms, especially the longer someone's been taking them. And finally, you might have heard about the recent research showing that antidepressants are often not much more effective than a placebo, and that regular exercise and lifestyle changes can be just as, if not more, powerful. There is good news. A lot has changed in psychiatry over the last decade. We've now got more options for people with depression to try nowadays. Things like pharmacogenomic genetic testing, neurofeedback, TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation, and ketamine treatment such as Spravato. But there's a bottleneck in accessing these treatments. Why? Well, because they're new. Many patients and even doctors don't know about the new research, so they just keep making the same old antidepressant prescriptions that they've been doing since the 20th century. Literally, remember then? So, for the remainder of this video, I'll tell you all about Spravato, because that's what we specialize in here at Marpa Minds, and because it is FDA approved for depression, and often it's accessible through your insurance coverage. Alright, so what is Spravato? It's the brand name for esketamine, and it's a ketamine-based nasal spray that the FDA awarded breakthrough therapy status in 2013, and then they officially approved it in 2019 for treatment-resistant depression, and then later on for major depression with suicidal thoughts. And unlike SSRIs, which tweak the serotonin levels, Spravato targets the glutamate system, the brain's most abundant neurotransmitter. It's got immense benefits of neuroplasticity in particular, which is the brain's ability to grow new neural connections rewire its connectivity and circuitry to enable just healthier emotional processing. And if you want to watch more videos about the downsides of antidepressants, how Spravato works, or how it actually feels to take Spravato, go check out my other videos here at Marpa Minds. Alright, now I'm going to summarize the most important research studies that will help you understand the differences between Spravato and traditional antidepressants. I'll make sure it's interesting and not too complicated, don't worry. And I'm going to start by saying that most clinical studies have evaluated Spravato when taken at the same time as an antidepressant, and that could be an SSRI or an SNRI, which is a serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. And Spravato's creators did this to make it easier for the FDA to approve Spravato by positioning it as an add-on treatment rather than a standalone alternative, and it was successful. So what we do have is a lot of data from the research that compares Spravato plus an antidepressant to a placebo plus an antidepressant. And this data from all these trials is incredibly compelling. The first one was in 2017. It's called Transform 2. It was a pivotal trial and it showed that Spravato plus an SSRI, it reduced depression scores as early as day 2, with significant improvements by week 4 compared to the placebo plus SSRI. And this gave us proof that Spravato sped up the antidepressant effects in comparison to SSRIs alone. And then in 2020, the Sustain 1 trial was published in the highly respected JAMA Psychiatry Journal. It had a great design. It split the trial into 2 main stages, an initial open label phase lasting up to 16 weeks, during which all the participants received Spravato alongside a newly started oral antidepressant tablet. And then phase 2 was for an additional 32 weeks. And there patients were randomized. They either got Spravato to continue that, or they switched over to a placebo nasal spray, but both groups of people continued to take the same antidepressant tablet. And then after 48 weeks, the results of the trial showed that those people who'd continued with Spravato were significantly less likely to relapse into depression than those people only taking the antidepressant plus placebo with no Spravato. What did this prove? That Spravato stops depression from returning much better than antidepressants alone. Another study in 2023 called Escape TRD was published in the New England Journal of Medicine. This study compared Spravato plus an antidepressant to Quetiapine, which is also known as Seroquel. It's an antipsychotic drug, but it's very commonly used nowadays to treat bipolar disorder and major depression. So this trial tracked 676 patients, big one, and they all had treatment-resistant depression. After 32 weeks, the data showed that people taking Spravato had a 55% lower chance of relapsing into depression compared to Quetiapine alone. And the final big piece of research was in 2024. It was a groundbreaking study, and it didn't have a very catchy name. It was TRD 4005. It was a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled FDA phase 4 trial with patients diagnosed with treatment-resistant depression. This is a massive, super advanced and very expensive trial to complete. And it was the first time ever that Spravato was tested as what's called a monotherapy. And that just means that it was being taken by patients without an antidepressant at the same time. And these results conclusively showed Spravato, when taken alone, it created rapid and lasting symptom relief from depression. And it proved that Spravato itself was the VIP at the party. It didn't need Mr. Antidepressant as the wingman anymore. Apologies for the patriarchal analogy there, folks. All right, this trial specifically led to the FDA in 2025 to approve Spravato as a monotherapy for adults with treatment-resistant depression. And this enabled doctors then to prescribe Spravato with patients that had that condition without also having to give them an oral antidepressant to take at the same time. And once again, this is all about giving you choice and options. And as you can see, the data and the FDA is now catching up at last, enabling new groundbreaking treatments like Spravato to be added to the proverbial mental health menu. Okay, so that's all the science. It's pretty compelling, isn't it? But what do people say, those folks that have tried SSRIs and Spravato? Well, I went online, especially to Reddit, and I found out, and here are some comments that I'll read to you that real patients said. First person: after 20 years on SSRIs, Spravato felt like flipping a switch. I felt a light, like the depression let go. It's not perfect, but it gave me hope. SSRIs dulled my emotions. Spravato woke something up. It's like I could feel joy again after all these years. Antidepressants dragged on with little effect, and Spravato, it changed my outlook almost instantly, which was unbelievable after my past. I've been on 6 different antidepressants with no luck, but after 4 weeks of Spravato, I'm finally seeing some light, though it is subtle. I tried antidepressants for 20 years with little improvement. Spravato at the 84 milligram dose taken every week, it's put some depression into remission, and that is a first for me. Antidepressants left me foggy and flat, but Spravato's intense experience was pretty tough. However, after 8 sessions, I felt a shift, and I'd never had that before. And the final story I found: colours seemed brighter to me after my second dose, and by week 4, I was laughing with my kids again. These are powerful stories. And overall, we can clearly see that patients often have outcomes like their emotions become clearer, less foggy. They become more connected to their true self. Their overall quality of life, the simple things like just functioning better at work on the average day, or chatting with friends and family, simply feeling more content and grateful to be alive, it's brighter and stronger with Spravato. Another big comment that kept coming up was around personal growth, and by that I mean people saying that had challenges around accepting themselves, knowing themselves, but with Spravato they're rediscovering parts of themselves they'd lost to depression or that the antidepressants had numbed. And the second thing, they often felt like they were doing some healing inside. Painful memories, traumatic experiences, things that had been lingering inside them waiting to come out. So, Spravato does sound promising, doesn't it? Yeah? And the good news is, over the next few years, there's going to be a lot more research being published that should enable it to be prescribed for more types of depression and with fewer restrictions on needing antidepressants or suicidality to be experienced at the same time. Right now, there are still some diagnostic restrictions around who is eligible for Spravato, and not all insurance providers have comprehensive coverage yet for Spravato. But this will only improve in the future. As I mentioned, there can be challenges when taking Spravato. It's not perfect, and nothing is. People can experience difficulties with dissociation. They can feel nausea. Intense emotions do come up. And old memories can be revisited, but compared to the downside of antidepressants, especially their side effects, patients are overwhelmingly valuing the pros far above the cons. Alright, so let's go back now to that big question: is Spravato better than antidepressants? Well, tell me, what do you think? Now that you've heard so much about it, what do you think? We know Spravato is effective for treatment-resistant depression and major depressive disorder with suicidal thoughts, because the FDA has formally approved these and awarded it also breakthrough therapy status too. We know that Spravato is better in combination with antidepressants compared to antidepressants alone. It's a fact. And we now know, because of the latest research, Spravato is also better than antidepressants in a head-to-head comparison for patients with treatment-resistant depression at least. And also, for patients who've tried SSRIs without success, it's becoming really clear Spravato does seem to work differently, and it gives those folks the relief they need. It's also proven that Spravato starts working much quicker than antidepressants. All the research shows that. And it also stops you relapsing back into depression for significantly longer too in comparison. So for now, we can confidently say that people with more serious kinds of depression tend to do really well with Spravato. And in the future, we'll also know how effective Spravato could be for people with other depressive disorders or that are having a depressive episode. All right, thank you for watching this episode of Marpa Minds. We are a network of next-generation mental health clinics delivering Spravato and ketamine treatment to patients with depression. To find out more information, go to marpaminds.com. My name's David Drapkin. I'd love you to join this conversation here, so please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks again for watching, and thanks to our sponsor, Marpa Minds, a network of next-generation mental health clinics offering Spravato and ketamine treatment for depression. Go to marpaminds.com for more information. This media production is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional, medical, mental health, or legal advice. If you need support, please consult a qualified professional. And we do not encourage or condone illegal activities. Please educate yourself on the laws in your region and consult a medical professional before making any health-related decisions.